Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I am going to do Unit 3 of Class 12th Indian Society, that is Social Institutions, Continuity and Change. So, till now we have already discussed how India's population looks and its size, growth and diversity. Now the next natural question is, how do these people live together as a society? See, a society is not just about individuals living side by side. It's about relationships, rules, traditions and systems that bind people together. And in India, these systems are called social institutions. So in this chapter, social institutions, that is continuity and change, we are going to understand three very important institutions. That is caste, tribe, family and kingship. So let's begin with slowly. Now, Indian society is not just a collection of individuals. It is made up of classes, communities and groups that are connected with each other. These connections don't happen randomly. They are maintained by institutions like caste, tribe and family. These institutions have existed for centuries, but they have not remained the same. They have changed with time. So this chapter studies what remained the same, that is continuity, and what changed, that is change. And we begin with the most powerful institution in Indian society, that is caste. Now here comes a very important question, and UPSC loves this type of question. That is, how far is the caste of the past same as the caste of the present? Because many students think caste is something ancient and finished, but that's not true. Caste is one of the oldest social institutions in India and deeply connected to our history and culture. And even today, caste continues to influence to the marriages, politics, jobs and social status. And another important point, caste is often said to be unique to India. But you should remember, for UPSC, caste-like divisions are found not only among Hindus, but also among Muslims, Christians, Sikhs and others in India. So caste is not just religious, it's a social. Now, caste in the past. Let's go back in time now. The word caste itself comes from the Portuguese word casta, meaning pure breed. But India already had its own system long before Europeans arrived. In India, we have two important concepts, that is Varna and Jati. Varna was a broad and pan-India framework, that is only four groups such as Brahmana, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas and Shudras. Later, those outside this system were called Panchamas or untouchables. But Jati was the real social reality. It was local, regional and very specific. That's why we have thousands of Jatis and Subjatis. This system developed around 3000 years ago during the late Vedic period. Now, what's made caste such a strong and rigid system? There were some basic rules. That is, you were born into a caste, you married within your caste and you followed food restrictions, and each caste had a fixed rank and occupations were hereditary. So your birth decided what work you do and who you marry and who you eat with. This created a system where mobility was almost impossible. But one important thing, these rules were very strict in scriptures, but in real life practices varied from regions to region. Still, overall, caste produced inequality and rigidity. Now let's understand the logic behind caste. Caste worked on two main principles. First one is difference and separation, and each caste was different and separate. Mixing was discouraged. And secondly, holism and hierarchy. All castes together formed one system, but they were ranked from high to low. This ranking was based on ideas of purity and pollution, but slowly purity became linked with power, and those who had land, education and authority claimed higher status. So caste became not just religious but also economic and political. Now comes a turning point, that is British rule. The British did not invent caste, but they changed it deeply. They wanted to understand Indian society, so they started surveys, reports and census. Some scholars even say the caste we see today is actually a modern colonial form of caste. Why? Because the British made caste as official, fixed and documented. The most important intervention was the census. From 1881, the caste was recorded regularly. In 1901, Herbert Risley even tried to rank castes across India. Now caste was no longer flexible or local. It became something written in government records. The people even started sending petitions such as, please record our caste as higher. So caste became bureaucratic identity that is frozen on paper. Now, colonial impact didn't stop with census. Land revenue system most benefited upper castes, giving them legal ownership and economic dominance. Irrigation and settlement schemes also had caste bias. Later, the British officially recognized depressed classes, which led to the creation of scheduled caste and scheduled tribes in 1935. So colonialism didn't destroy caste, it legalized and strengthened it. Now comes to 1947, that is independence. Indian national movement strongly opposed caste discrimination. Social reformers like Pule, Ambedkar, Narayan Guru, Periyar, Gandhi all fought caste inequality. The constitution abolished untouchability in Article 17 and guaranteed equality in Article 14. But caste didn't disappear overnight. After independence, the state followed a caste blind approach. The idea was if everyone is treated equally, the caste will slowly vanish. But reality was different. Upper castes already had education and resources. Lower castes were still far behind. So reservations were introduced not as favor but as corrective justice. With industrialization and urbanization, caste control weakened but didn't vanish. In cities, untouchability reduced but endogamy remained strong. Even today, most marriages are within caste. So, caste survived in new forms. Now, caste and politics. Democracy changed caste again. With one person, one vote, numbers became power. From 1980 onwards, caste-based politics grew. The caste became the political identity and a tool for mobilization. So, caste moved from ritual to politics. Now, M.N. Srinivas gave two key ideas. Sanskritization, that is lower caste adopting upper caste practices to gain status. And second one is dominant caste, that is caste with numbers, land and political power. For examples like Adavas, Jats, Marathas, Okkaligas, Reddis are very important. Now, changing nature of caste today. For urban upper caste, the caste feels invisible. For lower castes, caste is still very real. So caste is declining as ritual, rising as identity and politics. That's the contradiction of modern India. Now let us first understand who are tribes. The word tribe is actually a modern term. It became popular during British colonial rule, mainly for administrative purpose. Tribal communities are often called Adivasis, which means original inhabitants. But instead of defining tribes by who they are, colonial rulers defined them by what they were not. They said tribes had no written religion, they had no caste system, and also they had no clear class divisions, and they also had no formal state or kingship. So tribes were shown as being outside mainstream society. This way of seeing tribes already created a sense of separation between tribal and non-tribal India. Now, classification of tribal societies. Now, sociologists wanted to study tribes systematically, so they classified tribes using two sets of traits. The first are permanent traits, that is things that don't change easily like region, language, physical feature and ecological environment. Second are acquired traits, that is things that change over time like type of livelihood, level of interactions with low non-tribal society and degree of assimilation into Hindu society. This classification helps us understand that tribes are not static, they evolved with time and contact. Now, where do most tribes live? About 85% of India's tribal population lives in what we call Middle India. This is a belt stretching from Gujarat and Rajasthan to Odisha and West Bengal. It includes states like Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand and Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh. Around 11% live in Northeast India. In states like Arunachal Pradesh, Nagaland, Mizoram, Meghalaya, tribes form 60 to 95% of population. Tribes live in diverse ecological zones such as hills, forests, plains and even industrial areas. So they are not limited to forest alone. Now, the tribal languages belongs to four main families. Some tribes speak Indo-Aryan or Dravidian language, but many speak Austric and Tibeto-Burman language, which are mostly tribal. Anthropologists earlier tried to classify tribes into racial types like Negrito, Australoid, Mongoloid, Dravidian and Aryan. Tribe size also varied a lot. Some tribes like Gonds have populations in millions, while some island tribes have fewer than 100 members. Major tribes include Gonds, Bhils, Santals, Mundas and Bodos. Overall, tribes form 8.6% of India's population, more than 10 crore people. Now, let's look at acquired traits. Based on livelihood, tribes may be hunters, gatherers, shifting cultivators, settled peasants, or even industrial and plantation workers today. Based on assimilation, some tribes have adopted Hindu customs, some resist Hindu nation, and others follow their own belief system. The mainstream society often ranks tribes as high or low, which again shows how hierarchy enters tribal life through contact. In the 1960s, a big debate started in sociology. Some scholars said tribes are basically less developed peasants, part of the caste tribe continuum. Others said tribes are distinct communities, they don't follow purity and pollution like caste. By the 1970s, both views were found to be incomplete. Why? Because many tribes became settled farmers and some caste took up hunting or forest livelihood. So tribes is not a fixed category, it is a changing concept. Now, the tribes and caste overlap. Tribes were never completely isolated. Over centuries, many tribes got absorbed into caste society through Sanskritization, conquest, and cultural contact. Some tribal chiefs became Rajputs, some tribes became peasant caste, and while others remained distinct. Earlier anthropologists saw this as natural absorption. Later scholars argued this was often exploitative incorporation done on unequal terms. Now, myths of pure tribe. There is a popular myth that tribes were primitive and untouched. This is wrong. Tribes had kingdoms like the Gond kingdoms of Garha, Mandla, and Chanda, and they traded in forest products, salt, and elephants and metals. They interacted with markets and states long before British rule. So the idea of the pure tribe is actually a colonial myth. Colonial rule changed tribal life deeply. British policies led to land alienation, and forest laws restricted access, and mining and plantations destroyed livelihoods. To control tribals, the British created excluded and partially excluded areas where indirect rule was practiced. This period also saw many tribal uprisings such as Santal Rebellion, Munda movement, and others. Now, isolation versus integration debates. After independence, leaders debated how to deal with tribes. Isolationists said protect tribes by keeping them separate. Integrationists said tribes are backward Hindus, so integrate them. India adopted a middle path, controlled integration with welfare schemes. But in practice, integration often happened on the terms of mainstream, not tribal. Now, the post-independence development focused on dams, mines, and industries. Most of these projects were located in tribal areas. So, tribals paid the cost of national development, that is displacement, loss of land, and loss of forests. For example, Narmada Dam benefits to cities, displacement for tribals. So development created growth but also deep injustice for Adivasis. Migration and displacement. Industrialization led to large-scale migration of non-tribals into tribal regions. In Jharkhand, tribals became minorities. In Tripura, tribal population reduced drastically. Similar pressure is seen in Arunachal Pradesh. This threatened not just livelihood but also tribal identity and culture. Today, tribal identity is shaped by interaction, not ancient isolation. Many movements focus on self-determination, land rights, and cultural dignity. Creation of Jharkhand and Chhattisgarh was a success, and Northeast states still face the conflicts. And so tribal identity today is both political and cultural. Changing tribal society. Education and reservation created a new tribal middle class. You now see tribal officers, teachers, and professionals. But tribal society is also becoming unequal internally. That is, different classes have different interests. So most tribal movements focus on control over land and forest, assertion of ethnic identity. So tribal society itself is changing. Now, family. Every person is born into a family. It is our first emotional world. The family provides love and security but also conflict and tension. Sociology sees family as both, that is a private emotional space and also a social institution connected to economy and politics. Families can be nuclear or joint, the male-headed or female-headed, or patrilineal or matrilineal. So family structure reflects social change. For example, migration creates women-headed households, so private life and public life are deeply connected. Now, family change and continuity. Families change due to migration, new jobs, individual choice like the love marriage. But change often faces resistance. That's why family is a site of tension between tradition and modernity. Now, people think joint family is traditionally Indian, but sociologist I.P. Desai showed that this is not fully true. Joint families existed only in some regions and castes. Even the term joint family is a modern English translation. Today, nuclear families are increased, but joint families still exist where economic support is needed. Now, diverse forms of family. Families differ by residence and inheritance. Matrilocal or patrilocal, matrilinear or patrilinear. Patriarchy exists widely, but matriarchy is mostly theoretical. Matrilineal societies exist, but they do not automatically give women to power. Now, the case study of Kashi matrilineal. The Kashi tribe follows matrilineal. There is a property passes from mother to daughter, but control lies with men, especially maternal uncles. So, women inherit property, but real authority often remains male dominated. This shows matrilineal not equal to matriarchy. So, family is a dynamic institution. It changes with economy, migration, and values. Indian society shows both continuity and change in caste, tribe, and family. Understanding this balance is key for UPSC. So, with this, we complete chapter 3, that is social institutions, continuity, and change. In the coming days, I will upload the next chapter with the same clarity and depth. Till then, revise today's topic properly. If this lecture helped you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel.